Welcome in, West Tigers fans, to another edition of the WestsLife Podcast. I am your host, Josh Barnett. We are brought to you by Holman Barnes Group, which includes West Ashfield Leagues, the best place to watch the games live this weekend, live and loud on the big screen. The boys taking on the Rabbitohs and the girls taking on the Sharkies. We're going to preview those games tonight on this episode, amongst other West Tigers related discussions. At WestsLife Pod is our handle on Instagram and Twitter, or X. What's it called? X now? Twitter? Speaking of management, the people, bloody incompetent managers of certain outlets. Fucking Elon Musk, what are you doing, man? What is X? Anyway, there's that little rant over. Not the last one for tonight. Put it that way. Our Linktree link, which you will find on our Instagram and Twitter, or X, or whatever the fuck it's called, on the profile page. Click the link tree, and that will lead you to whatever outlet of podcast or YouTube channels. Shouts to all our YouTube subscribers watching us tonight. Thank you again for joining us live. While you're there, give us a like and a subscribe. If you haven't found our YouTube channel, we'd like to get up towards 1,000 by the start of next season. So I think we're in the mid 600s or something at the moment, which is pretty cool. But yeah, please, even if you normally listen to us on the audio, go over to our I think if you type in at WestsLife Pod in YouTube, it should come up as well. And it shouts to our Patreon members, patreon.com/WestsLife, our Discord. Lots of fiery discussions and talk of all things West Tigers, and even a little bit of non-West Tigers stuff in there today. So that was popping off as well. Rob coming in, Mr. Bashara coming in from the Red Room. How are you this evening on a Wednesday?
Yeah, I'm okay, Josh. Hope you guys are well. Hello, everyone out there. Looking forward to getting this preview done and dusted.
And our NRLW correspondent and expert, Mr. Aaron Thompson. How are you as we the girls head into looking to go back to back against the Sharkies this weekend?
Yeah, g'day Josh, g'day Rob. Yep, that's the one game this weekend I am looking forward to watching. Very excited to see the girls live again. First home game at this time around, so should be a good day out since I'm getting basically two games for the price of one out at Belmore on Sunday.
We're just getting a few comments in saying they're sad this could be your last episode, Rob, for a while anyway. You're going to take a little bit of a break, but he'll be back.
I'll be off for a week or a month or a decade. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah.
I need a West Tigers lobotomy, so I just need total recalibration, guys. I'm just sick of beating my head against a brick wall, and I want to work with the club, not bag the club. But there's nothing to be positive about, in my opinion.
Yep, and if you follow our socials, there's even more for us to have a crack. But first, we're going to talk about West Ashfield League. So if you want to watch the West Tigers play and you're not heading to Tamworth on Friday, it's so stupid this game's on a Friday at 6 p.m. But anyway, we don't have West Tigers. It's something we don't have control over. By we, I mean the West Tigers club. But as it may, knock off work on Friday, head to West Ashfield to watch the game from 6 p.m. live and loud. You can check out the Garden Bistro or walk on and have a feed as well. The home of the West Tigers, West Ashfield. For more information, please visit holmanbarnesgroup.com. I believe their jackpot in their promotion this week is up to 80K or something for Thursday night too. So pop in on Thursday night, swap your members card as well. Righto, on to the news for tonight. So, look, my childhood hero, Benny Elias. I was saying to the boys today, I grew up wanting to be Benny Elias growing up in the 90s playing footy. I played hooker and really wanted to be Benny Elias, but he has in his post-career said a few controversial things. But what he's saying here to, I believe, Fox Sports is saying for the NRL to intervene at the West Tigers and basically get rid of the board and make them reapply for their jobs. Basically, Benny said, it really annoys me when people who pay their hard-earned dollars can't even have a say. The system stinks. It's the people who own the game. You come to a stage where enough is enough. I'm talking out for the people who support our great club. And he goes on to say plenty there. Rob, you've dealt with Benny on a few occasions. Is this something? Look, he likes to pop his head up in the media, but I think everyone agrees with what he's saying here, if it's even possible.
Yeah, look, normally a lot of people don't agree with what Benny has to say, but I think on this one, most of us are quite united. I just sent him a text today, saying I agreed with everything he said and good on him and keep the heat on. And he said, thanks, how you going? And basically said, mate, we can't get worse than this. And that's the sad part. I think we can get worse if we don't do the right thing. So, look, I've said it Monday night. I just don't want to get into a bashing match with these blokes leading the club. But probably the best way I can say it is I really do think they're trying their hardest. I said that Monday night, but I think they're trying so hard now. It's just like a car in mud, and we're just spinning our wheels. Like we're just trying so hard to get it right. Seems like we've got too many Chiefs, not enough Indians. They chop and change. Mate, you can't even fit the amount of people they need in the box. Like there's no room in the box. There's like too many coaches. There's just too many people making decisions. I just caught a glimpse of 360 earlier and like it's fantastic that we've extended Appy. But the fact that apparently, and I'm only going off Hooper's word, so it might be wrong, but apparently Justin Pascoe and Benji Marshall did the deal for Appy's extension and Scott Fulton didn't know about it. And we're all meant to be unified and meant to have had meetings, and maybe that's what the meeting was for over the weekend, to try and get on the same page. But I'm just disillusioned by it all, guys. Like I said, I'm not knocking that they don't try. I just think the men there aren't capable enough of getting results. And that is my opinion. It doesn't mean it's fact, but in Hadjipentelis's case, he's had 4 years. In Pasco's case, he's had 8 years. I try and be positive about things. But then I saw a statistic on Twitter the other night that just burned me. And it just makes me think, what am I doing? Like, why are we following this club? We've won 10 out of our last 50 NRL games, guys. 10 out of 50, 20% success rate. And then Lee says things like, I'm humbled that I've got the support of the board. And I'm thinking, mate, you've got the support of the people that have failed us, and you're a part of that failure, and the CEO's a part of that failure. What you should be humbled by is having the support of your fan base, the support of your players, the support of your coaches. I don't even think the coaches trust everyone anymore, especially given the fact of how they recruited Scott Fulton. So I just, like I say, I'd love to help the club. I'd love to, be on their side, but we're the arch enemy. They just hate us with a passion. And the part that bugs me is they don't respect every individual's history. So we've had many people we know of that aren't members anymore and that aren't even following the team anymore. And yeah, Lee took a shot at me last year for not being a member. Like, I've been a lifelong Balmain and West Tigers supporter, and just the arrogance to say, well, you're not really a supporter, like, screw you. That's the attitude that it's not marketing. It's not PR. It's just an awful way to deal with people. As much as we disagreed with him, we invited him on the show and he basically said, F you. And it's like, okay, well, you don't want to state your case. We're actually giving you a chance to state your case. We don't want you on the show for ratings. When I first came on this show, yeah, we had a rant and like, what could we change? And it was all a bit of fun talking footy and talking with you and Shane and now Aaron. And, then it became like a cause. It was like, I want to make the West Tigers better. If I can put my 5 cents worth in and make it better, I will feel better about everything. And, I've had a go, but I don't think I've had an effect except make their life difficult because, they've complained that I've had members ring up and members email and all this sort of stuff. And the reason I directed them to the club is I can't do anything. It's the club that can do something. You know, if you're complaining to me, happy to give you therapy, happy to talk to you. I love conversing with the fans, and maybe that's part of our popularity, guys. But you know, ultimately, you got to voice your problems at the membership. And if everyone keeps telling them we're not happy with this, we're not happy with that, eventually you'd think they have to listen. But back-to-back wooden spoon, guys, and we're not going to have any change in management. We've had one change. Simon Cook resigned. John Doherty's on the board, and that's it. And we've had a change with Scott Fulton being appointed and Warren McDonald leaving. And you know, in terms of the actual rugby league, the coaching looks like it's going to be the same. We're going to have a non-existent halfback of some shape last year. We're not going to have the halfback situation solved. We've still got plenty of time to recruit outside backs, but we haven't sorted that out yet. So we're still going to have a gun pack, a top 4 pack, and a bottom 4 back line. So what do we do next year? Where are we going to go next year? I just think our fans deserve better. Like, you know, the club should be blessed that we've got the fans we've got, but I just don't think they treat us all with respect.
Well, it's probably a good time for me to mention. I mentioned it at the top of the show, or teased it a little bit. If you saw in our socials today, I contacted the club, did the right thing, and asked them if we could have one of the NRLW girls on the show. We had Tess Staines, and who was our other guest last year? It was one of the Curtins. Was it Emily Curtin? We had
No, it was Keely Brown.
Keely Brown on. Before that, and they came on the show, and that was obviously when they went on to win the Harvey Norman women's. Look, we just wanted to promote the girls, and yeah, something that really needed a push, and they wrote back basically saying, no, we're not going to provide any players to you. It was pretty blunt reply, and that's it. A few people in our comments when we talked about it on the socials today asked if it was an RLPA thing. No, players are still doing podcasts and that sort of thing. It's just basically the press conferences and like post-match, basically stuff with Fox Sports in the coverage and that sort of thing. This was definitely targeted because they said we're not going to give players to you. So, like, you know what, Pasco and Hazard tell us, like, you could probably, to be fair to them, they could probably take a little bit of credit for the women's a little bit with the pathways and that sort of thing that have been set up. Here's this little spark in a bleak, absolute embarrassing era for this club that we love. And you could have flamed that like little spark into something better by letting us show the girls with like a couple of thousand listeners every single episode, promote the girls. That's about what the crowd was on Sunday's game, was a couple of thousand. But no, you're denying us the one thing that's left under that state-of-the-art roof over there. The fans still want to support the players. Like, it's just denying us the players. Now, am I surprised? No, obviously, we were basically the first outlet, so to speak, that went hard on management. Yeah, basically saying that management needs to change it at this club. Rob, you said that at the end of, you came on this show at the end of
2020 or something.
2020, yeah, it might have been 2019 or something, but it was
a
while ago. We've aged a lot since then, but
we've gone backwards since then too. By the way, not as a podcast, as a club.
But Rob obviously asked Lee to come on the show for a bit of a rebuttal last year, and we all know what happened there, and read about that in the papers or whatever. But since then, the amount of supporters that these guys that are running this club have left is basically non-existent. Like, and I don't understand how they're not aware of this. Look at the comments in your social posts. Every single thing you post on the West Tigers pages is just, it's all memes, it's jokes, it's fans that are absolutely at their wits' end with this club. And even the guys over at the West Tigers podcast in the Ambush, they used to have weekly meetings with Justin and organize the events and have players. Now they've backflipped and they're going hard and they want your demise as well. And let's be honest, like, they're starting their petition, and let's be honest, you're probably going to just laugh at that petition that they're starting. It's not going to achieve anything. Like, they got a couple of thousand signatures, and we honestly haven't been bothered to promote it because we know it's not going to do anything, despite actually agreeing with what it wants, what it's saying. And we commend those guys for having a crack at it.
And finally having a go. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and seeing the light. I mean, Rob and I, we receive messages pretty much on a daily basis from not just from everyday fans. We've spoken to family members of players, former staff members, a certain former West Tigers chair, a whole range of people who have had a connection to this West Tigers club in your era. And do you know what they say to us? They actually tell us to keep going with our agenda, so to speak, to keep pushing of like what we're preaching here. And you know what? To be honest, I'm tired of it. I'm sure plenty of our listeners are tired of it. We can only say the same thing so many times. And that's why Rob's going to take a break, because you can only say the same thing so many times. 99% of the West Tigers fans out there, and even the ones that have never heard of us, which is most of them, like I'm not denying that, they nothing's going to change unless some more board members have the balls and the pride to just walk away from this and make some changes. And at the end of the day, look, we have this podcast, but we're just a bunch of passionate West Tigers fans. Like, I started this thing to be a place for fellow West Tigers fans come in, give different opinions about the team. Mostly, I wanted it to be mostly about on the field and talking about the game itself. In the last 5 seasons, and Rob's kind of already touched on this, I've worked this out before. We've won. So I started this podcast in 2019. We've won 33 games and lost 77 games in that time. That's since 2019. And we actually did not too bad in those first couple of years. And just 7 out of the last 41 games. So we've changed in that time. We've changed coaching staff. We've gutted and refilled the roster and brought new players in, Origin worthy players and like experienced players, made all these moves, and yet we've gone backwards. And there's one constant in this whole time, and I'm not talking about Luke Brooks or David Nofaluma because they're not to blame here. Like, mate, last year, our girls, like I said, the Harvey Norman women's, they were in the grand final, and we asked the player to come on the show, and the club tried to pull that away from us. They actually tried to cancel that player from talking to us. We tried to talk to a male player on the show this year, and they told him he wasn't allowed to talk to us. So in all the play interviews we've had in the past, it's been nothing but positivity and fun shit. We've talked about the players. It's been a break from us having to talk about the club and all. Why wouldn't you want us to promote your club through speaking to the players? And like Lee, like beyond being a voice to thousands of West Tigers fans here, like we're paying members ourselves. Like I don't say this just as the West Tigers, the WestsLife Podcast owner, like, well, whatever I don't really have a title, but the father of this podcast or whatever. I've literally drained my bank account on jerseys, memberships, flying literally around the country, literally seen this team play all around the country. You're the chairman and the sponsor. Pull the trigger, make the changes to this club. Like, your most diehard of diehard fans are walking away. Not just me, people exactly like me. And I'm sure you guys know, I've been platinum members. I've done and there are people above me who are top tier members for years and years walking away. Like, these bullshit profit projections that Justin brings up at a members night, that they can't be accurate, because the amount of people that are going to walk away, and we're at our wits' end. Like, just, yeah, that's my rant for the night. I had to get it off my chest because obviously gone a little bit Rob Bashara there.
No, you haven't sworn. You've been very good.
Yeah, I don't know how I think I swore once, but fuck me. Like, it's just do the right thing, fall on your sword, and fucking make the changes to this club, because we're just going to have to keep saying it. We wanted to do something positive, and you've denied it. So you get that. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. So, righto.
Hang on. Doesn't Aaron want to say something about this?
Yeah, I'll give you the stand now, because you're pissed off about, as our NRLW correspondent, you were obviously pretty pissed with this result as well.
Yeah, pissed off and disappointed. From my perspective as a fan who's tried really hard over the last however long. I guess since a little bit before the start of the preseason, I started trying to promote the women's team and the fact that we were getting a women's team, trying to encourage the fans who listen to this show to get behind the team because it's good for the club to have that extra team. And the girls proved it on the weekend that they are a team worth getting behind. As a fan of the game and to an extent as a member as well, like I haven't been a member for quite as long as you, Josh, or you, Rob, because you were a member for quite some time before you cancelled yours as well, I believe. This is my 8th year. As you guys know, I've travelled from Orange to Sydney at times like 10 plus weeks a season for some of the seasons I was a member, spending a fair chunk of money in the process of doing so. I've signed up to be an inaugural member of the NRLW team as well. I went to watch their first game. I'm going to be going to watch their second game, and I have intentions to go to a few of their other games as well. And as an amateur podcaster as well, I remember when we had Tess and Keely come on those 2 weeks in a row. That was kind of like a pinch me, I'm dreaming moment. That was the first time I've had that sort of interaction with a player where I've been able to ask them a question and get to know them a little bit better outside of like a meet and greet at a members event or something like that. And to see the club so vehemently bar us basically from having access to the players is pretty frustrating, because it doesn't hurt the club getting the girls to come on the show. It helps the club. Like you said, we've got thousands of listeners. They could be promoting these girls to an extra few thousand people per episode, basically. And like I said, I've been doing my best to promote the club, both here on the show and on Twitter. Like I went absolutely ballistic on Twitter after we won on Sunday. That was probably the most active I've ever been, to be honest. And I had a lot of fun. And it was just a really good, exciting time. And I just wish the club would be a little bit more open and receptive to giving us access to basically promote them. Obviously, we have had issues with them. Yeah, we have had issues with them in the past. And I think at times we've wanted to patch things up with them. There was supposedly, I think I heard an offer for them to attempt to patch things up with us, and nothing kind of happened from that to my knowledge. But I mean, if you want to build bridges back up and give the players another avenue to give fans another avenue to support the team by having players appear on the podcast like we had with players last year and the year before. I think off the top of my head, I can remember we had Adam Dewey on at some point. We had Sean Bloor on at some point while they were contracted by the club before all the chaos went down. And like you said, Josh, it hasn't been anything bad when we've had them on. They've been fun episodes. They've been great to listen to.
The chaos that happened by then, Aaron, they were organised privately. Like I organised Adam privately. They didn't know he was coming on. If they'd have known he was coming on, they probably would have stopped it. Look, yeah. I think the biggest problem with the club are the people that run the club just get absolutely butthurt and cannot accept criticism. You know, I know I've been totally out of line with name calling and all that sort of stuff. I get that. If they had any clue what it was like to be a supporter, okay, for your life, from like when you could walk, okay, and have the frustration and see some of your kids go half a lifetime without making finals and going backwards and making bad decisions and all this sort of stuff, they literally do not get it, and they close ranks on you. You can't even look, there's people I used to talk to every week that I don't talk to anymore because they just close ranks on you. Okay, you cannot criticize them because they just don't want to hear it. They just think everything's perfect in their little glass menagerie at Concord. And, you know, Josh, you were mentioning about Justin showing the spreadsheet. I'm sure the figures are right. The figures aren't bullshit. I know that they're meaningless to you. Our KPIs, okay, our key performance indicators are our wins and losses. Okay, that's the wins are just all that matter. And the reason we vent from our spleen, from ever, okay, is because we're frustrated and we demand excellence. Just in case they're not aware, that's the name of their Zurich Centre of Excellence. Right now, we're about to cop our second wooden spoon, okay? And, like I say, I don't care if if they don't want to come on the show, they don't want to come on the show. But people get to put a name to a face. They get emotionally attached to a player. They want to go see the player. We went out and supported the Harvey Women's last year when they won the comp. And I'll be honest, Aaron, like if the girls got piped by 50 last week, it wouldn't matter. Like I still want to have players on the show. Like it'd be really nice to just break it up a little bit. But the problem at the club, and we all talk about the fish rots from the head stuff, but forget that sort of talk. Let's just talk about attitude. If you've got that attitude from the top that you can't take criticism, be it constructive or not, and you just want to shut ranks on everyone, that criticizes you, you have to look at the ladder, guys. We've come 16th and 17th back-to-back years. There's a reason we are last. And, going back to the petition, Josh, everything in that petition, I agree with to a lesser degree the governance. I mean, I don't think it's right to have a sponsor as your chairman because obviously the board are going to, be very nice to the sponsor because they don't want to lose their sponsorship money.
Bite the hand that feeds you, yeah.
But at the end of the day, if West Ashfield voting is a certain way and West Magpies is a certain way and Balmain Tigers is a certain way and the only way you can get on the board is a certain way, no one can interfere with that. What the problem is the decision makers. That's the problem, guys. It's not about the systems or whatever. If we had 8 or 9 board members doing a great job and we're looking good, everything's fine. But it's just not the on-field stuff that's a problem. It's the off-field stuff. Like this whole fiasco about Scott Fulton and who they want. And, Scott Fulton wants, I've just gone blank on his name, the halfback Cogger from Penrith. And Scott Fulton doesn't want Aiden Caesar. And Scott Fulton didn't know about Appy Coruscant. And this, Benji wants Aiden Caesar. Benji doesn't want Cogger.
And Sheens didn't even know that they were hiring Fulton.
Oh, look, that's what I mean. Sheens didn't know they were hiring Fulton. And look, I don't think Benji knew either till they were about to sign him. They only told Benji at the nth hour that this is what's happening. And to do your business in an underhanded manner like that, whether it's necessary or not, you don't do that. Be a man and just say, guys, we're not happy with things. We're 0-7. Our biggest problem in 23 years is recruiting players. In our opinion, we feel Scott Fulton is the man to do the job. We're going to go out and get him. Can you work with him or not? And just do that. So every time we rant, it's not because I want to put shit on Lee. I want to say Lee and Justin are the fucking best. And, and if we were doing well, we could say good on them. They've turned it around. But in 4 years and 8 years, they haven't. And their legacy isn't going to be the wooden spoon, guys. Their legacy is going to be they put their pride and ego before the club, okay? Their pride and ego before the love of the club. And as I've said to you many times, guys, if we were the CEO, chairman, board members, whatever, and we were in this position, we'd look at each other and say, guys, we've tried our best. It's time for someone else to do the job. And these guys just don't want to do it. And that attitude that I'm talking about where they don't want to let, people come on to our podcast or any other podcast, and I'm sure that other podcast won't get guests now because they've seen the light, and good on them, and good on them for doing the petition. I don't think it'll work, but it wouldn't hurt that they've got 2,000 people that signed a petition, and these guys can read it, and they can say, well, at least 2,000 people are upset about it. It's just frustrating, guys, and that's half the reason why I don't want to do this, because I don't see a future in the West Tigers with this type of leadership. I don't believe it's the governance that's being the problem. I just think if we had the right CEO and the right chairman and board, we've got 400,000 fans. We've got 20,000 members when we've gone backwards year after year. We should have 50.
But we should have 50. We should have 50,000 members.
We should have more, mate. We should have more home games. We can do a lot more, like next week we're going to play New Zealand in New Zealand. Okay, now I know we've got the World Cup and all that sort of shit on, and maybe that had something to do with moving the game. But we're playing New Zealand in New Zealand. So if we were like coming 9th or 10th, we would have had to beat New Zealand in New Zealand to keep our finals hopes alive. Now, how did that pan out? Did Justin Pascoe go to the board and say, hey, guys, I've got an idea. We're going to take our home game to New Zealand and play it in front of New Zealand. What do you think? Is that a good idea? And if they all tick off on it and say yes, then they should all just get the fuck out of there. They're stupid. Like, do you understand what a home game can be the difference in terms of getting penalties or getting a sin bin? Or, if we played St George last week at Leichhardt and they were laying all over us for the last 20 minutes, do you think we wouldn't have got a 6 again or a penalty? Like, to give away a home game just willy-nilly because he wants to pay back the people of New Zealand for what they did for COVID. He's not the NRL CEO. He's meant to be doing the best thing. He's meant to be doing the best thing for the West Tigers in order to win the most amount of games. Your KPIs are wins, not money. And if, heaven forbid something went wrong money-wise, West Ashfield will chip in. It's not all about money, and they're going to lose members, guys. And we had 2 members on our Discord last night, so they're going to pull their family memberships of 4. So there's 8 people that aren't going to be members next year, and they'll just sit there and go, "Who gives us stuff?" You need to give us stuff. You've got to give us stuff about every little 1% of every aspect of this business, club, whatever you want to call it. And at the end of the day, there's a massive disattachment with the fan base, and that's why we are popular. Fans resonate with what you, Aaron, Shane, and myself say. Otherwise, they wouldn't be listening. Who the fuck wants to listen to a podcast when your team loses 80% of the time? That's we're therapy. But like right now, I'm at the point I need fucking therapy. I'm just over it. I just don't. I just think, what am I doing, mate? I'm like a full-time therapist, and I don't get paid for it. I love dealing with the fans. Don't get me wrong, but my phone just texts and DMs and phone calls all day long about the Tigers. I'm like, mate, I can't solve the problems. The problems are still there. And then until they fall on their sword or seek better advice or get changes on the board, get better people on the board, it's not going to change. So we're just stuck with it. And I don't know. I just think they've just got a really piss poor attitude to. They got no marketing skills. They got no public relations skills. Like, just to not let a couple of girls have a chat. We find out, what their background was, what they did growing up, what their favorite color was, what their favorite food is, and talk about some games. And some people out there might think, you know what, I want to go watch the Tigers Cronulla this week. And look, we're going to promote them anyway as a podcast, whether I'm here or not. But I just think, what a weak attitude. And Lee and Justin are always invited on this podcast, because I would love them to have their say and let them throw shade at me. I don't care, but let's have a healthy conversation about how do we work together to get this club into the force it's meant to be, and not just keep spinning our wheels and just blocking everyone out and saying, we're doing a good job, we're doing a good job, we're doing a good job, because we're not. And that's my rant, Josh, and now you can move on with the show.
Maybe that's what we need a petition for you to be the next guest on Ask the C. Oh, they haven't done the Ask the Boss for a
Josh,
while. Josh,
what we need, and it's impossible to organise, what we need is a protest at Concord. The problem is, what day of the week do you do it and what time do you do it? Okay, because not everyone can be there. But I'm telling you, that sort of, they got embarrassed by a man who was opening up a Facebook page and was going to turn their back on the crowd or something, I don't know, on the players in whatever minute of whatever game it was at CommBank, and they shat bricks. Imagine there was a proper protest at Concord. They'd be ringing us up saying, hey, guys, can we give you a soft drink? What can we do for you? But it needs a proper protest. But nothing's going to happen, guys. If the NRL step in, and even hypothetically, if the NRL took them to court, the court's going to throw out whatever the NRL say. It's a privately owned company like that owns 90% of the West Tigers, and all their voting procedures are fine if you want to be technical about it. The problem with our voting procedures, we've just got the wrong men there making the wrong decisions. That's all it is. We just need different men there, or we need the men there to change their attitudes. And I don't think either's coming, guys, and we're just stuck with it. And I'm not watching the South game this week, and I hope we win. If I knew that, if it meant that I don't watch another West Tigers game for the rest of my life and they were successful, I would do it. That's how much it means to me.
Yeah, we're just a bunch of passionate fans, and we're just fed up. And 99% of the West Tigers fans, I think, are on our side in this one. As anything to add to that before we get back to the news, we want to a little bit of a 20-minute tangent there, but yeah,
The one
we'll get
thing
back.
I'll say, the one thing I'll say is basically what Rob was saying about how we're taking a home game to New Zealand next week to thank the people of New Zealand or the players and staff of New Zealand, of the Warriors and stuff like that, for the sacrifices they made during COVID and everything like that. Let's compare that to what the Broncos did. The Broncos didn't have a home game against the Warriors, I don't think. But at the game where they played against each other, they basically had patches on the back of their jersey that said "Thank you, NZ." These were above the jersey numbers. So, I mean, something that simple is a thank you to the Warriors for the sacrifices they made during COVID. Why did we have to take a game over there? Why couldn't we have done something similar? That's kind of my 2 cents on that one.
I think the thing that pisses me off a bit, just to tangent on the New Zealand thing, we'll probably talk about it when we preview that game. But as I've been a full season ticket holder since I think 2012 or so. It's been a while. I go to literally every single game. Like my life literally revolves around going to West Tigers games. I mean, it was one less game I could go to this year. Like for however long, the second half of the season, basically going to be able to go to one game. Like it just sucks. We already lose one to the Magic round, which I guess isn't totally the club's fault, but for some reason, every single Magic round has been our home game. Tamworth, I'm fine with. I went to the first Tamworth game. I think every club playing a game of the bush is a good thing, but we should at least be able to go to 10 or 11 home games for our team. That's why I went Leichhardt only this year, because fucking only 9 games for a season ticket.
We talked about it in the car on the way back from the Storm game, Josh, where I basically was like, well, that's 7 of my games that I've got as part of my full season membership out of 9. And from that Storm game, which I think was round 16 off the top of my head, I had 2 more games I got to go to. One of them was in round 19. The last one is in round 25. So 16 to 19 is 3 weeks. 19 to 25 is another 6 weeks. So I have a month and a half before I get to go to another game that's part of my full season membership. And I made the joke that it's kind of like a 3/4 of a full season membership, because it's only 9 games instead of the full 12, which is what a normal team would have for, say, okay, it's a...
Well, we lost you a bit there, Az.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, all good. Yep.
I agree. I think, I'm of the belief that if the NRL were to come out and say every team has to take a game to a rural or regional venue, that would be fine. Then every team would basically have 11 home games plus a regional one, like we do with Tamworth, like the Panthers do with Bathurst, like the Rabbits sometimes do with Dubbo, and there are a few of the examples I can think of off the top of my head. Like, that would make sense. Another thing they could do is have Magic Round, but basically make it a neutral game where they have an extra game in the season. So every team plays 25 games, for example, and the Magic Round game doesn't count as a home or away game. So every club still gets their full 12. There's a few options there.
RLPA is the issue there. They don't want more games. Yeah.
I know they don't, but it's it's an option for the situation, and it's kind of what the AFL have done this year with their gather round. They basically said every team would be playing in Adelaide somewhere over the weekend, and it's basically an extra game added to the season. So every AFL team is playing, I think, 23 games instead of 22 this year, because that was technically like a neutral venue for all those teams.
Common sense. Yeah. We're getting on to Volandis' fault now, not so much Justin and Lee's. Righto. So we are back to the news. So West Tigers are apparently meeting with Jaden Sullivan tomorrow from the Dragons. What are your thoughts on this one, Rob?
It's an interesting one. It's another Mario Tartak player that's going there. Look, the guy can definitely attack. I mean, he carved us up in Brisbane when we played him the first time. I think he scored 2 tries. and that was coming on as a replacement as well, late in the first half. So he's definitely got some spark about him. I don't think he's really a game organizer. Very weak defender from what I've seen. We're desperate. We're gonna end up with 3 or 4 halfbacks next year and play spin the bottle. So, I mean, look, he's got the one thing he has got. He's young. He's got upside. He can be taught to tackle. Like I've said previously, if the coaches have to buy star players and to call themselves good coaches, what sort of coaches are they? We need coaches that can develop players, teach them to tackle, teach them to kick, teach them to do other things. But in terms of natural spark and breaking the line, this kid's got a lot of class in attack. But he wasn't impressive against in the last few weeks from what I've seen. But he can play. So hopefully with a good off season and with the right mentoring, he could be something good. And apparently he's meeting with our staff tomorrow. Obviously the coaches are in Tamworth. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But it looks like we're the favourites. I don't think Canterbury can afford him, given all the 5 or 6 players they've seemed to have signed in the last week or so. So it looks like we're the favourites for him. But what are your thoughts, Aaron?
I mean, like you said, we're pretty desperate. We need the players. We're going to have a few too many cooks in the kitchen after we're done, basically, because we're looking at signing every Tom, Dick, and Harry out there in the position. I believe he's got the talent. I'm not a massive fan of him, or the grubby sort of style he played with. You guys were watching with me during Magic Round, and I was pretty pissed off when he laid down for the penalty for what was essentially minor contact after he kicked it. He fell down, laid there, got the whistle, then got up smirking and ran off like nothing had happened. And I was pretty pissed off at that, because I just don't think that's the way to play the game. Me being a white knight over here, but anyway, I mean, if we're going to sign him and he's going to play for us, I'll support him, but doesn't mean I have to like him.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he's still pretty young. Like Rob said, he can offer plenty of attack. Yeah, if he signs with us or doesn't, I don't know. I don't know if you guys watch Futurama, but there's an episode of these things called neutrons. I think it's neutrons or something. And he, so there's a quote in it that says, "I feel, I feel, yeah, I've buggered it. Basically, I have no emotion one way or the other. I've completely forgotten
like you just put up there, Josh. He's 21. He's 21. Like, he can get better. And I mean, to be able to come into first grade and score tries. Admittedly, a lot of players can score tries against us when they don't score against anyone else. But okay, he did score a couple of tries against us. He's it's only his second season, I think. So look, hopefully with a full off season with us, and he can develop. But I mean, it's up to the coaches to make him a good defender. I remember there was a time, you guys might not even been. I mean, Josh, you certainly remember. I'm not so sure about Aaron. Canterbury let go of Jonathan Thurston and chose Braithen Astor over him. And basically that was because Jonathan Thurston was a really piss poor defender. And he got signed by North Queensland, and Graham Murray turned him into a fantastic defender. So you can be taught if you're taught by the right people. So hopefully he can sort out the defensive side of his game, because his attack is really good. I think he'd need to work on his game management a little bit as well, though.
Oh, remember Benji in 2005? We'd hide him on the wing. That's why he basically ran the ball back in the grand final to set up the try for Pat Richards. So, speaking of passionate West Tigers fans, so Mobile Corp, formerly MLC Phones, so they support local businesses by managing their IT, their networks, and their mobile devices. If you're a local business owner looking for a partner who will take away the hassle of dealing with IT issues, make sure you have cybersecurity in place, handle all your mobile device needs, then Mobile Corp can help. Mobile Corp is a family-run business and a long-time supporter of the West Tigers. Reach out to Stephen and the team at Mobile Corp. Check out mobilecorp.com.au. That's mobile C-O-R-P. Oh, I've stuffed that up. Start again. Mobile corp.com.au. I got to say it like a robot to say it properly. Righto, onto a game of rugby league this week. First game of rugby league this weekend. As can you run me through the West Tigers team list? So we're playing the Rabbitohs 6 p.m. at Scully Park in Tamworth. Take it away, Az.
Jareem Buller is at fullback. David Nofaluma and Charlie Staines is back on the wing. Stafford Toa and Junior Tupou are in the centres. Dane Laurie is the 5'8", and Luke Brooks is back at halfback. Stefano Uto Ikamanu and David Clemmer are the props. Api Coruscant is the hooker. Isaiah Papali'i and John Bateman are the second rowers, with Fanua Pole at lock. Will Smith is back on the bench, as is Sean Blaw. Alex Twoll and Atasi James round that out. Justin Matamua is the 18th man. Asu Kepaoa, Jake Simpkin, Tommy Talau, and Talon De Silva are the reserves.
Yeah, good to have Stainsy back on the wing. Junior Tupou moving into the centres. Quite like that. Yeah, Junior Tupou, a blinder last week, and Tommy Talau, his inside man. It might have been the worst, possibly the worst game by a centre compared to the best game by his outside winger in the history of rugby league. They was just chalk and
Considering
cheese.
the winger didn't get that much ball because of
Yeah.
the centre.
So yeah, moving Junior in and seeing Charlie back. Yeah, I'm keen to see that. So
the club like to make us look like a bit of a fool, don't they, Josh? We played on Monday some of the Sheensy clips from his press conference where he mentioned that Brooksy's probably about 2 weeks away and stuff like that. And here we are, Brooksy's back in the team.
Was that one of the wrong clips that I played? It might have been an old clip that I accidentally
No,
played.
the wrong clip was the Buller clip, Josh.
So Sheens, I was wondering. So Sheens did say it was 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I swear in another quote.
I think he said Charlie was 2 weeks away as well. Or am I misreading that?
Sheensy, he's got no concept of time. Maybe. Any changes, Rob, that catch your eye here? Obviously, the first this halves pairing, another. I mean, it's too late. Laurie and Brooks, we finally get to see it.
Yeah, look, just my overall perspective on that whole unit. Look, Laurie was one of our best players last week, so he wasn't going anywhere. We said Monday night, Wakeham had his worst game ever, and I kind of said that based on what Tim Sheen said about his kicking game in the press conference, and that every ball went into the fence when only one ball went into the fence, you knew there and then that Wakeham wasn't going to be there this week. I guess the only difference will be Dane Laurie will have to play on the right side as opposed to the left side, because we all know Luke Brooks is generally our left-sided player. The other big thing for me is James being in there. I think James is in there because he's a bigger body than Seyfarth. And look, Seyfarth had been playing pretty well, but, he made 19 tackles, 3 missed last week. So it wasn't like one of his better performances. So I just think
I think he's actually injured.
I thought he was on an extended bench. Am I seeing anything?
No.
I apologise. Then. I just thought maybe he got dropped because he missed a few tackles. That's all. So, look, other than that, I mean, I guess will Noffa stay on the right wing and Staines on the left wing? Is that the way we're going to go? Because it'll be a pretty inexperienced left side with Tupou and Staines there. So, other than that, there's really not much more I can say. I mean, Talon De Silva got dropped, which, is that correct as well? Is De Silva there?
He's in the reserves. He's been named in Flegg.
He's been named in Flegg. Okay, well, I mean, like his stats weren't huge last week. I think it was, 9 meters and 11 tackles or vice versa. So, didn't do anything wrong, but just didn't really have much involvement last week. So maybe they're just, giving him a full game again. But other than that, I just think, our fortunes are really going to depend on if Mr. Latrell Mitchell plays or not, because like I keep saying, South Sydney without Latrell, they're just a totally different team. It's not just what Latrell does. Latrell just gives all those other players a lot of confidence. They all seem to lift when he's around. So, we'll just see if Latrell... Isn't it a surprise that a player makes his comeback against the West Tigers? Like, we've never seen that before, have we?
Yeah.
In the last 5 or 6 years?
I would have put my money on it.
Years.
Yeah.
The Dane Laurie, Luke Brooks combo, I'm keen to see that. It's literally, I think, a 5th or might be a 6th different halves combo this season alone. And it's 2 guys that I reckon they can actually work pretty well together. We'll call them for this combination before Luke Brooks got injured. So it'd be so West Tigers for them to have an absolute blinder and show that they could be the halves of the future, and they're both gonna
Both gone.
gonna f off next year. Blore, I said on the show on Monday night that Blore was expecting to play. He obviously was a late scratching on last Friday's game, so good to see him. Thursday. It was a Thursday this Friday. Anything else? We're discussing today. So, do you think Toa and Noffa will they be on the same side?
Yeah, that's what I was just asking. So I'm not sure. I think they probably will. I mean, if you go back to our first couple of rounds, Noffa was on the right, wasn't he? And Staines was on the left, and he seemed to be Staines and Naden for some silly reason on the left side were interchanging positions in attack, which I thought was really freaking weird. But I don't know if that was sheenius or Benjiness, but it was stupidness. It just didn't work. So I'm not sure. I guess he'll be back on the left.
Jason D said, I've been at Blory's house massaging his quad all week. Damn straight. All four quads, just getting there nice and deep. I asked the Noffa and Stafford Toa thing because someone in our Discord mentioned today, what do we call that combination? I said we could call it the Star of David. So
very good.
Yeah. And I had a lot of spare time today. I also thought who would be that combination's arch enemy in the NRL? Have a think. Who's Stafford Toa come up against a lot this year?
Holmes.
Yeah.
Valentine Holmes.
Yeah, Palestine Holmes. There you go.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Boom tish. All right.
I think we'll just stay out of that and somewhere in the Middle East.
Do not use Judith. Stuff that up. Jude, did not say that coming.
The dad jokes are strong with this one.
Yeah, definitely.
The racist dad joke. Right, read us the Rabbitohs team.
Okay, so Latrell Mitchell has been named at fullback. The wingers are Alex Johnston and Tane Milne. Isaiah Tass and Campbell Graham are the centres. Cody Walker and Lachlan Ilias in the halves. Jai Arrow and Hame Saleh are the front rowers with Damien Cook at hooker. Keon Kaloa Matangi and Jacob Host are the second rowers. Cameron Murray at lock. Their bench is Davey Mawale, Saliva Havili, Jed Cartwright and Tom Burgess. Blake Taff is their 18th man. Shaq Mitchell, Tallis Duncan, Peter Mamazelos, and Dean Hawkins are their reserves.
Yeah, pretty good looking squad there, Birdo.
Yeah, look, the matchup for me is Cody on the left side up against Dane, who has been defending on our left side and now moves to the right side. So I just think our right edge is going to cop a lot of traffic between Murray to Walker to Latrell. And just picking out whether they're going to go short, long. I mean, Walker's got it all. He's the best ball playing, 5'8" in the comp. So, a lot of our success will be determined by whether we can shut Walker down. I think we've got the forward pack to go set for set with them. If our market defence is good, we nullify Cookie. And look, let's face it. I know Latrell looked really fit on the news, but he hasn't had a run. So hopefully he's not firing too hard till 2 or 3 weeks from now. So he'll probably need the hit out. But I don't know, guys. I just don't know which Tigers are going to show up. If it's the Tigers I'm expecting to show up, I think we'll be in it for a long way. But if we get off to a poor start, it could be anything. But we seem to do well out in the country. We did okay against Penrith. Admittedly, it was wet there, but hopefully we can do it again. But I will find out when I check the news later in the evening. Not watching the game.
Quality comment. I appreciate this one from Jason D. He says Murray Walker is at F1. You probably don't get that reference. As
Very
really
good.
Bit young. They've been going around and around. It's been so fucking boring.
Joy for British viewers. It's Nigel Mansell.
Yeah, he was the commentator. He passed away a couple of years ago, but he was basically the F1 commentator for years and years and years until probably the early 2000s. I think he retired. Yeah, he came out for Bathurst a couple of times as well. Absolute legend. Good
He was
quality comment there,
good bloke.
Jason. Anything else as to talk about in the Rabbitohs squad?
Just their backline is very, very scary. You look at pretty much what they've done is what we probably should be doing. They've got the inexperienced centre paired with the experienced winger, and they've got the experienced centre paired with the inexperienced winger. And I think that does a lot better for their combinations. Like Alex Johnson and Campbell Graham are probably two of the most dangerous players in the competition when it comes to breaking a line, scoring tries. And yeah, their halves, Cody Walker, Lachlan Elias hasn't been in quite as good a form as he would want to be. And with Latrell potentially back in the team, there's going to be a lot of danger, particularly with their backline. They've got a scary bench as well. Saliva Havili, Jed Cartwright, and Tom Burgess are all very, very big boppers. I don't know too much about Davey Moale, so I can't really comment too much on that. But yeah, their team is very bloody scary.
Aaron, I can't think of his name, but they've got a guy on the extended bench who's had a couple of games on the right wing. I don't know how he hasn't got that spot in front of Milne. He is absolute grease lightning. He's got so much talent. I wish we had a winger like him. I've just gone blank on his name, but if you can...
Is it Tallis Duncan?
That's him. God, he's a good player. So I hope we don't see Tallis Duncan as a late starter. I don't know. I don't get South's not playing him. He did so much when he got that first grade spot. I just thought, how do you drop him after what he's shown? He's just too talented not to be in first grade regularly. He's got speed to burn. He's got the smarts, can defend. He's a really good player.
Righto, lower grades, New South Wales Cup. That is 2 p.m. on Sunday. They play at the exact same time as the girls. So, yeah. Whatever.
Well organised.
Yeah, Tommy Talau's obviously down there, as is Kepa Owa. Brendan Wakeham as well, Jakey Simpkin. So quite a few Matamua. So quite a lot of those who have played plenty of first grade this year playing for us. So if you want to support the Cup guys, head over to Lickham Oval, playing against the Bunnies on Sunday. And in Jersey Flegg, they play before them at midday. So you can see Talon de Silva in action, Josh Felaherty as well. So, yeah, they're taking on the Rabbitohs. So all three grades, all three male grades taking on the South Sydney Rabbitohs this weekend. God, I hate them. Righto, NRLW time. As a lot of team lists for you to read out now. Don't worry about the Sharkies. Just do the Tigers.
No worries. Well, I will just say our team is completely unchanged, including the reserves. So Batil Vetti Welsh is our fullback. Jakaya Whitfield and Josie Linaz are our wingers. Rakia Horn and Leanne Tafanga are our centres. Pauline Pillay Rasabale and Emily Curtin are the halves. Sarah Tokatuki and Christian Pio are the front rowers. Ebony Pryor is the hooker. Kezi Apps, Eliza Cialata, Nevada George are the rest of the back row. Sophie Curtin, Lozana Lutu, Taylor Osborne, and Falau Vaki are the bench.
So what are the difference in this 17 compared to last week, as?
Identical.
Unchanged. Okay. Don't change the winning formula. Yeah. Lozana Lutu, when she comes on, she just completely changed the game. So be keen to see if they get her maybe on a bit earlier this week. But who are some of the standouts for the Sharkies? As Penatani's obviously a kangaroo. Who are some of their big stars? Don't worry about reading out their whole team list.
So they've got a very talented fullback in Jada Taylor. Emma Tonegado was a fullback and has moved into the halves for them, so she's a very much a danger player as well. Quincy Dodd had a brilliant game for the Sharks on Sunday against the Raiders, and she's the hooker, so need to watch out for her as well. Those are probably the biggest threats on their team.
Okay, and what's your prediction for this one, Az?
This one's going to be a tough one. Obviously, both teams are coming off first up wins. One of these two expansion clubs is basically going to start the season 2-0. So there's going to be a lot of emphasis around the game, a lot of emphasis around some of the matchups. I'm looking forward to this. I'm very excited to go to Belmore for the first time and get to see 2 games because it's a part of a double header. It's going to be a tough game. I'm backing us in. I think we can get the W. If they play like they did against the Eels, I think we can get another win. I'd say maybe about 4 to 6 points. It's going to be a much closer game. I'm very much looking forward to going and watching and cheering on the girls in their first home game.
Pretty, must be pretty decent weather on Sunday too, so you might be quite a high scoring affair.
Potentially.
Righto, Robstradamous, what do you got for us this week?
Guys, I've kept it really simple. I've gone 4 teams to win head-to-head. South, Manly, Penrith, and the Dolphins. I think you'll get about $3 around that. I don't know if you've got a boost or a multiplier or whatever you use there, but I think that's a pretty solid bet. And as always, I hope I get it wrong because we don't want South to win. But I mean, you just got to be a realist about these things. And yeah, if Latrell plays, that's a lock. If Latrell doesn't play, I always give us a chance.
So what are South paying in this? Is it even worth having them?
$1.07.
Is it even worth having them in this multi?
You got to. I'm trying to get the best price I can for everyone there. That's all. I mean, look, it's really hard to do try scorers and stuff like that when we do a show Wednesday, teams come out Tuesday, and then they bloody change all the players later in the week, and you don't know who's in and who's out. So I just tried to keep it as simple as I could. So for this week, so if you don't like it, don't do it. I'm not going to be doing it. It's too short for my liking. But
I'm just saying, dude. So you get 262. What I'm looking at here, 262 without South, and then with South 280. Okay, so
so the odds have come down because it was 297 when I sort of punched it out last night.
It's
without boosting it.
298 with a boost.
Okay,
we've come in from about 1050 to 860 or something since team lists as well. So I guess that's the Brooks effect, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Not just that, guys. I mean, I wish we kind of said it on Monday night, but as soon as we knew Staines might be a chance of being in, the most logical thing to me was to move Junior Tupu to the centres and just give him a crack at it because he's played, rugby union for Canberra as a centre. I mean, it's a big ask up against Campbell Graham, but I mean, he's a big body and maybe he can give Graham a little bit of trouble there as well. So I like the idea of giving him a go at centres, especially because, it seems like Naden's on the outer. He doesn't seem to be back in first grade, whether it's injury or not. And obviously Talau's going to Manly and Kapoa, I don't think will ever be back. So, we're really struggling for outside back. So if he can make a name for himself there and we hang on to Staines and Noffa, then, I guess we'd be looking, we're just hoping that Stafford Toa can keep some of that form he had about a month or two ago up, and then we're looking pretty decent.
Just looking at anytime try scorers just to see what Blory's paying. He's 750. Luke Brooks 925. That's pretty good for
first game back. And I think we should mention too.
Yeah, but he's going to play 80 minutes.
Yeah, Aaron and me were having a chat before the show. And we think Appy will be doing the kicking. Given Brooksy had hamstring problems and all that. So I think let's hope we get some goal kicks to be fair. But if there is goal kicks, I think Appy will be doing it.
Righto, on to our tips for the week. We're pretty much all identical except for one game this week. It's a lot of heavy favourites, and we're absolute cowards and gone with them. So Broncos against the Roosters, $3.09. That's crazy. The Roosters are paying over $3 for a game. But are there any outs or something? Like, I know the Broncos are red hot, but $3 for what were one of the competition favourites, just insane.
I just think it's a form line. Yes, it's a
lack of form.
Yeah, sorry, Aaron, you go.
I think it's just the lack of form. The fact that they've only beaten the Titans last week, and they had a really good first half, but a really poor second half. A few of their star players are going to take a little bit more time to gel into the team, and the Broncos, after demolishing South last week, are red hot.
Yeah, I just think it's who you're playing. Like they played South Brisbane last week, so it's definitely they've had a tougher opponent than the Roosters. But I'm not crazy about I wouldn't bet on this game because this is a grand final for the Roosters. Like I certainly don't write them off. I looked at that back line they've got today, with Tedesco and Suwali and Manu and all these guys. I don't think it's going to be easy, but it'll be a really good game to watch. Like we should get some great tries in it.
What are they giving the margin for the Roosters there? 8.5. So
I reckon that's a pretty good bet.
we've all gone Rabbitohs. Unfortunately, the line in our game 21.5. So I don't think it's meant to rain in Tamworth or anything. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, we're wrong. Maybe a miracle against the Rabbitohs at home, like we were last year. So
we know South are going to score points, guys. It's just a matter of whether we can score points because South's defence the last few weeks, by their standards, has been really shithouse. So if South don't defend, then it could be a high-scoring game. But I just think they've got too much strike. And, if you worry about Cody and Latrell, they've got Campbell Graham, and then they'll have Cam Murray, Damien Cook scooting. They got weapons all over the park. So we've got to be on our game. But I just want to know where our points are going to come from.
Storm, we've all gone Storm over the Eels. Eels 270 seems pretty juicy, but who's out for Para? Obviously Dylan Brown, but
yeah, I'm not sure who's out, guys. I haven't really done my homework on this game, but this is one game that I reckon will be a dour, low-scoring game. I just can't see Parramatta getting blown off the park like they did last week. Melbourne were awful after leading 12-0 against the Knights last week. So I just think this could be a low, scrappy kind of game where there'll be, somewhere between 30 and 40 points scored.
Yeah, they'll have been given a bullet up their backside, the Storm as well. That's pretty much why I've tipped them. I don't think they'll lose to Para after what was an awful, awful performance against the Knights last week.
This is the only game we've disagreed on. So Az and I have gone Raiders at home, and Roberto's gone the hot running Newcastle Knights. So this could be Golden Point, I reckon. What do you reckon, Robstradamous?
Big chance. It could even be Canberra halftime, Newcastle full time. Like Canberra have a habit of falling away in the second half. I just love what the Knights are doing. They're really playing the sort of footy we expected. The Knights could play if they're at their best. They're on a high, but like Canberra are tough. Like they're really, really tough. They don't seem to attack unless they have to attack. So I don't know. I found this another hard game, and I got no confidence tipping Newcastle. But again, it's Newcastle season on the line. So I just think if they don't win, they're gone. So I'm gonna go for them and give them the win.
Just saying, it's 15-1 for Golden Point. I'm gonna do your multi minus the Rabbitohs because I'm not betting against my own team, and I'm going to do that into Golden Point for you get 39-1 for that. So
not bad.
10 wins out of the last 50, Josh. You could have been a multi-millionaire by now.
Could have been.
How many times have you called Golden Point games this year, Rob? In Robstradamous,
I've only got two right, Aaron. I think I got 2 out of 3. I've gone for it 3 times, but I just figure it's 2. There's actually a few games this weekend that are again potentially Golden Point, and that's certainly one of them. I think if the Roosters fire, that could be another one. And even
15-1.
Yeah, but 15-1. Storm Para could be Golden Point. Like Storm's attack isn't great, and Eels don't have to score too many points. They've still got Moses and Guffo, and a little bit of strike there. So there's plenty of games you could have a dollar multi on a couple of games to be Golden Point and pick up some nice coin.
We've all gone Manly on the road. Where's this Dragons game? Where are they playing this? Win.
I'm pretty sure it's win again.
As in Wollongong?
St George suck. Manly are absolute specials.
Okay.
It's also a 300 game milestone for Cherry Evans, so they should live for that.
Yeah, they were really good for a long time last week against Cronulla.
Panthers heavy favourites against the Sharks. Sharks paying $6.70. That's crazy. Yeah.
Sharks can't beat top 8 teams.
Yeah, I was going to say they're
Yeah.
low team bullies. So Panthers, man, are they going to three-peat the Panthers?
Most likely. I think Souths are the only danger if Souths get it right.
I've got them on
Maybe the
better, so I'm
Broncos
not
with Adam
that upset
Reynolds.
about it.
Okay.
We've all gone Dolphins. They're playing against the poor old doggies at it's in Bundaberg. So they've actually the Bulldogs, man, who's managing? They've taken a home game against a Queensland team to Queensland. So they're playing in Bundaberg on this
Like
one.
the Rabbits, they can't use a core. So like the Rabbits as well over the next month or so have home games in Perth and another one somewhere else. Like they don't have a home game in Sydney, the Rabbits, until the final round of the season.
Yeah,
So,
they've got a 5-week road trip.
World
Yeah.
Cup.
Get on the Bundy Rubs, doggies. We've all gone Dolphins in this one. Fins up. And lastly, we've all gone Cowboys against the Titans on the Gold Coast. So, yeah, the Cowboys are really good. The Titans,
They're on a roll.
yeah. So, there lies our tips. Actually, my tips have been absolutely shithouse lately. Like, I had a huge lead in our Patreon comp, and I'm only 4 ahead. So, I had like a 14-point lead or something. It's chipped away to just 4 now.
Bare bones.
So, Patreon.com.
Also, Josh, I'm 96, not 92. You didn't change my number again.
That's because you sent me your tips after I'd anyway. My bad. Patreon.com/WestsLife. Shane Colletts, he's a Benji Marshall tier member. Oh, by the way, I've changed the Dane Laurie tier. It's now called what did I change it to? I'm trying to think.
Jaden Sullivan.
You read that out, I'll find it.
I'm trying to think what I named it to. I can't even remember. Shane says, I want to give my thoughts on the NRLW. Admittedly, I don't watch it at all, but ended up watching it last weekend as I had them in a 5-leg multi. I found myself to really enjoy it. So everyone that doesn't watch it, you may be surprised. Give it a go. I'll be watching again this weekend. This weekend against South, we have Dumb and Dumber in the halves. He hates
Love it.
He hates Luke Brooks
hates
and Dane
Dana.
Laurie. Yeah. The only positive is they will only be around for another couple of games. I don't understand the hate for Wakeham. This past week, he had a poor game for sure, but overall, he's done okay given the circumstances. South.
Agreed, Shane. Agreed.
Wait, you don't like Dane either?
No, I'm agreeing about Wakeham. I think he was like shit house last week, but he's been pretty good other than that.
You've named it the Alex Twoll tier.
Alex Twoll, that's right. Alex Twoll. I thought, what's a good, solid, good toiler? That's highly.
Does that mean you get one comment every 5 years for that tier, or how does that work?
No. It's just every tier you get access to our Discord. You get to ask us questions, which I think we did have just on the Discord in the rant channel. Tim C said, keep up the good work, boys. We'll miss you, Rob. And Riff Raff was talking about the 3-2-1 for the women's, which we ended up doing on Monday's show. So our next show, Monday night, we'll review these games Monday at 8:30. Any parting words, Roberto, as you take a break, and I will take over to break down these games?
Yeah, look, just a big thank you to everyone that's like I said, reached out, sent me some messages, really lovely, touching messages. I need a reboot. I really am 50-50 about, what I should be doing and shouldn't be doing, but I don't enjoy bagging the club anymore. I mean, I don't feel like I've got a choice, but I don't know. I'll probably have a talk to you in the off season, Josh, and maybe we can work something out. But at the moment, I just don't. As much as I love the club, I don't think I'm the right voice for the fans. They need some hope, and I don't see hope with the guys we've got leading the club and the coaching structure and the whole fucking shit. The shit show. So I don't care who we sign. We need to get it right up top, and I don't want to have one flash year and then 12 bad years. So I want constant success and constant. We've got to we want to try and emulate the Storms and the Roosters, and when they miss the finals, we're shocked. And we're not like that. We don't even make the finals in a decade. So look, just like Lee Hadjipentella said, if you can do it, guys, stick solid, keep the faith, keep listening to these guys. And I'll talk to Josh down the track, but right now I just need a break. I'm tired. I don't, it's not just doing a show. It's just all the shit I do through the day, West Tigers related, that sort of drains me as well. So I love doing this. I love talking about my club, but I don't love seeing it go backwards and backwards and backwards. And I just feel like there's no control. I've got no control over it. It just really hurts a lot, and we're all hurting. And yeah, I just need a bit of a break, and I'll talk to you down the track, Josh.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we'll organise something. And look, I was hoping that we'd get some players or something to talk to. Maybe we're going to have to find.
Invite Lee on the show. He might come on now that I'm not here. So
yeah, maybe we're paying as and I are paying members, so he has to listen.
Yeah, I'm a paying NRLW member.
Oh, that's true. You did. We all three of us signed up for NRL. I completely forgot I did that because I haven't received anything for it. But as anything to say before we're heading to the West Tigers NRL and NRLW back-to-back Friday and Sunday this weekend?
I just want to say thanks to Rob for a lot of the time saying things that I've wanted to say, but I don't say because I'm like not a confrontational person and I struggle to bag the club out like that. Like I try to be a bit, I guess diplomatic might be the best word in a lot of my responses, but I love Rob's passion. I love that he's no holds barred when it comes to what he says. And so often, mate, you've been a voice of the fans, and I've enjoyed listening to you, and so have all our listeners. I'll miss you. I do hope you come back, and I'm glad that I was able to make a friend out of you during this whole process, and meeting you at a few games, and Shane as well. So
much appreciated.
We'll miss you. Hope you come back.
Thank you, mate. I really appreciate it. Well, you guys keep the good work up, and the fans need you. I definitely need a rest, and yeah, we'll just see how it goes. You never know. I might get bored. We'll see how we go.
Yeah, no, you've been an absolute staple. Obviously, I started this show solo, Rob, and then I got you boys on. Late 2020. We tried to work this out earlier. I can't remember which year it was, and yeah, absolutely helped me take it to what it is today. And the fans, absolutely, all the comments coming in for you here on the live show, and all the messages that we get, and all the people at Discord. You'll still be in the Discord and hanging around.
I'll be in the Discord. I'll keep giving you updates. Look, for the record, I am doing stuff behind the scenes to do with the club, but I just, I'm not going to give any false hope or anything like that. But I'm not giving up. It's just, I don't know how to explain it, guys. I just feel like, what they see as us venting. We're demanding excellence. We're demanding for our club to be better. We're demanding for getting the foundations right so we can succeed. I'd cop a wooden spoon if I knew the foundations are getting right. I still don't think the foundations are right. So I just think we've got to keep striving for that. And hopefully one day the club will wake up and realise these guys aren't just a bunch of nobodies that are just yelling and screaming for the sake of it. They love the club. They care about the club. And there's a lot of fans that listen to them for the reason. And that's because they want the club to do better. So, we want to be united with the club, but we do demand success, and we do demand excellence. And that's what we've got at Concord. And we're not seeing anything close to excellence. So, we'll take mediocrity next year because we don't even have that at the moment. So thanks again, guys. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate the love. And, we'll talk in about 6 weeks when we finish 17th, Josh.
Well, you mentioned we have nothing going on at Concord. We do have the girls, and I did manage to fix the video. Hopefully this will work to finish the show. But as always, guys, go the Tigers.
Go the Tigers.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the WestsLife Podcast. Please follow us at WestsLife Pod on Instagram and Twitter, and facebook.com/WestsLifePod. You can also support and take part in the show at patreon.com/WestsLife, and give us a subscribe on YouTube and turn notifications on. We'll see you again next time on another episode of the WestsLife Podcast.